Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. Hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we are going to do two things. We're going to take a look at the new spoilers, a couple of the new spoilers that have been revealed today, but then we're also going to take a look at Tales of Aria, the market update. Instead of doing two different videos, I figured I'd just throw them into one video. If you want to keep watching for the market update and that interests you, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just watch the kind of what's happening in the spoiler section today. So first off, we have a new spoiler from Card Market, which is pretty cool. Card Market is now available, or Flesh and Blood is now available on Card Market. That's kind of the big announcement. And they have put out a really great video. Make sure you go watch it. It's 40 seconds long, but it's a really cool kind of, I didn't want to play it because I want you to go to their channel and watch it. But a really cool like spoken word thing for it, just kind of tells what the card is and who it is. But anyway, we have a new elemental an elemental wizard hero with essence of ice, and this is a first thing that caught my eye, of course, is that this is a majestic hero. So we've seen rare heroes in Crucible of War, and now we have majestic heroes, and I'm guessing that these will be the majestic cold foils. And I'm guessing I honestly think we're going to see, instead of majestic weapons for each kind of subtype or class or whatever, I think we're going to see majestic heroes for each one. And it's really interesting to see that. And in this picture even of Iyslander, she doesn't even have a weapon, so it's kind of replacing that weapon slot, in my opinion, in the pack opening. I think it'll be really cool. I think it'll be super interesting. Beautiful artwork. Of course, we saw this spoiled on Rudy's video yesterday as well. All right, Iyslander has Essence of Ice. It is an elemental wizard hero, so it's a young hero only, and at 18 health. I think all these heroes are going to be young only. It is a supplemental set. If it's not your turn, you may play non-attack action cards with blue color strips from your arsenal as though they were an instant. Okay, so if you have a non-attack action card in your arsenal, you can play it as an instant if it has a blue color strip. Whenever you play an ice card during your opponent's turn, create a frostbite token under their control. So this is going to be like a pretty heavy lockdown deck. It's gonna be a pretty heavy, the idea here is gonna be slow down. It's kind of like what Oldham does, but with Wizard. And then I think, the idea will be slow them down on your turn. I wanted to take a look and see what would be available for ice cards to play to trigger the frostbite token. It does say that you can play non-attacking action cards with blue strips from your arsenal. I'm sure there are tons of avenues to take a look at that, and I'm sure people will do that. But I wanted to look at specifically ice cards that would also trigger this ability to kind of maximize this card a little bit. So let's take a look at a couple of those cards from Tales of Aria. Obviously, Amulet of Ice, you could play this now if it's in your arsenal on your opponent's turn as an instant. This would trigger a frostbite token on their turn, and it would also then allow you to destroy it and force them to pay 2 resources. If you'd have to have Ice Fuse, but it would set that up for your turn, right? So you could play it, they get a frostbite token. Now on your turn, if you can Ice Fuse, you are set up to basically take some more cards out of their hands and deal that kind of tax. I honestly think this could be a tax card. I think we could see a heavy tax deck. And I think the game, I think that's a cool dynamic for the game. All right, Amulet of Ice. Also, you have Winter's Bite. This would, you would play this from your arsenal. Again, target hero would have to discard a card unless they paid 1 resource. And then, of course, it would also create a Frostbite token. So, again, that's pretty strong. Winter's Bite played from your arsenal, I think, would be a pretty strong interaction. Polar Blast. This one is... it says this turn. I don't think this would be in the deck. But it is a card that you could play, and you would also draw a card. There is some dynamic there that you would be playing it and drawing a card, and then you would start your turn with 5 cards. They would start with a Frostbite token, but you would not have a card in your arsenal, so it's not really card advantage, but you could play this. I don't think that one will see it. Chill to the Bone. Next time an ice or elemental attack hits a hero this turn, create a frostbite token under their control. So you probably wouldn't be doing this one, because if they are playing ice and they do hit you, or elemental and they do hit you, then I think you would have to create that frostbite token. So you probably won't be playing that one. Icequake, your next attack gains +1. Again, I don't think this is going to be one that you do, because this says whenever attack hits a hero this turn. I don't think that's going to see it. Weave Ice, again, I don't think this one's going to see it because it's whenever you play an attack action card, you play this turn. So I don't think that deck's going to run stuff like this. Although that does look like an Ice Wizard. So maybe I'm just completely missing something. If there's maybe her weapon allows you to play, like if you've played a maybe she has a weapon, right? Where if you played a ice attack, non-attack action this turn, it then allows you to play one attack action. That's the type of thing that could open this up to utilizing some of these buffing spells from your arsenal zone. So that could happen, but that we'd have to see more, tech if that's going to be the case. Of course, Blizzard's already a card that you can play as an instant, but I did want to say that now Blizzard played on your opponent's turn from your arsenal would do the whole taxing things, and on top of that would create another tax of the Frostbite token. So super good. I think Blizzard, as one of the highest value Majestics, is already going to continue to see that. Am I reading that right? Because it is an ice instant. Whenever you play ice card during your opponent's turn, yeah, it doesn't even have to be from your arsenal. So this one is just going to be a really good card. It's just going to be a really good card in the deck. This doesn't have to be played from your arsenal to generate that Frostbite token. And then, of course, Channel Lake Frigid also going to be pretty good, I think. On your opponent's turn, you could pump this, and they'd have to create a Frostbite token, and then their cards and activated abilities would cost an additional one as well. This is obviously a great card, and yeah, so all in all, I think there's a lot of dynamics here with Iyslander. I think, the artwork's beautiful, the card's beautiful. We're going to have a great kind of majestic cold foil version, I think. And I think it'll be really cool. I love seeing wizard support. I know a lot of people will do that. That being said, I do think we're going to see support for all the classes with these Majestics. That's what we've seen in the past, that, for Crucible, it was a Majestic for each and every class. I think this is going to have a Majestic hero for each and every class, which will be really cool to look at and see and evaluate. And I think we'll shift up that kind of blitz format quite a bit, and it'll be fun to build the decks for those. And I think, some multiplayer stuff could be really fun with that. So it's going to be a good time. Everfest coming out. I'm sure we'll get a spoiler schedule here in a couple of days or weeks. I think the official spoiler season, I don't know when it starts. I think it starts on like the 20th or something like that. So it'll be cool. And we will kind of take a look at people's spoiler videos as we go through it together and experience the game from the perspective of just people enjoying it. So it'll be really cool. All right, let's get into the Tales of Aria market update for you. There's really honestly not a ton to talk about this week either. So I just figured I'd do this. I'd run this really quick. Hey, if you are looking into this and you want access to all this stuff, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. You can have a collection tracker that updates whenever I do these. And then we, of course, do have events in the server as well. So let's take a look here at Tales of Aria. There's not a ton to talk about. This is going to be first edition. Sealed boxes are currently available on TCG Player for $92. That's a little bit up from the December slump we had that tracked down to $85, but now they're just available for $92. The Fable here, Corsham, is available for $352. This is about sold listings. I think availability right now, if you were to buy it, it's $362 or something like that. But the latest sold listings are $352. The legendaries, we're starting to see, it's interesting with Unlimited and, sorry, I'm trying to clean this up. With Unlimited and first edition, we're starting to see these legendaries clean up a little bit and become a little bit more separated. You've got an average price for your legendaries, which is down 1% on the cold foil at $148. And if we quickly pop over to the unlimited version, it's now $126. So like we kind of talked about many times, the unlimited versions are going to continue, I think, to lose some value unless the first editions go up. Which could happen as people build these decks. You could see people say, hey, I'm going to pick the first edition up for $20 more. And that will cause first edition to go up, and then maybe unlimited doesn't have to go up. But currently, the price swing is going down towards unlimited, whereas it's kind of just sitting a little flat here for the first edition legendaries. Looking at the cold foils then, honestly, there's just not much change. You've got Deep Blue up $15. Up to $15 for the cold foil commons. You get Rotten Old Buckler, going back up to like the $6 or $7 price point. Your average common is up 2%, but that's really it. Your average, like Majestic, all those cards, they're just sitting about what they've been at. They've kind of really found their price points, and now we just kind of wait. I guess we need some bigger information, or the prices just kind of slowly stay the same until they go up and new players get into the game, and that's probably what will happen. So your average Majestic is sitting at $42. Your average common is at $8. The Channel Lake Frigid Extended Art is sitting at $208, which is just a little soft from last week. Majestics, of course, Channel Lake Frigid, still kind of one of the highest value cards in the set. You've got Blizzard, another kind of higher value card in the set, and Terra Sunder are the ones to pursue. Our percentage change here is off. It is down 13% from $4.21 to $3.36. Looking at your regular Majestics then, and then we'll just skip over to the EV. We are up 4% here. Blizzard is up. You've got Terra Sunder, which is holding value, and Sting of Sorcery. I think you will see Blizzard spike on the news of this new hero, in my opinion. It's just too good. And that's it. I think you'll see that. I think that will be a card that you'll see go up over the next couple of days. All right, let's take a look at the EV calculation here. If you take a look, your box, if you open 40 boxes, on average, you'll set $87 per box. If you only include the Majestics to the Fable of that and not the rares and the commons, you're sitting at $80 per box. If you only open up a case, so you don't include the Fable, you're sitting at $71 a box. But then if you just open up one box and you do hit a cold foil common, your box on average, including the rares, would sit about $30.34. Let's take a look at Unlimited. We'll just show you sealed boxes. They're not really changing at the $73 price point. The Fable is actually down this week 7% to $210. The legendaries, like I said, a little bit soft. We're just starting to see prices reflect more of what we saw like on eBay than what we were seeing on TCG Player, where there was just wasn't very many listings. But now we're starting to see more listings on TCG Player and more supply, which is probably a good thing because this is a barrier of entry for players to get in. And so as these kind of erode in value a little bit more and the supply increases and people are actually opening unlimited boxes and putting them on the market, then it allows us to see kind of cheaper prices for players to get into, rather than looking at a $100 card and saying, oh, do I want to build that? Do I really want to do that? This allows them to kind of hop in. So down 5%. Your Majestic rate, same thing going on. Voltaire's is sitting up. It's actually not up, but it's still at $21. The same thing as that we've been talking about. All these kind of high cost Majestics that you don't pull very often, especially the weapons, are holding value. Channel Lake Frigid, Blizzard, still the better cards in the set, and Terra Sunder $6 there. Regular Majestics, that was a Rainbow Foil. Regular Majestics, similar things. Again, all the same conversation as first edition. The price points are just so similar. First edition, the percentages are all moving the same. So Majestics, just to compare, Majestics compared to the first edition, it's a 10% difference. Not really much to talk about. All right, looking at your EV calculation then without the cold foils, how this all plays out is that your box, if you open up 40 boxes on average, you'd be sitting at $68 per box. If you only include, what does this include? If you don't include the non-foil rares in that, so this is just going to be all the cards that are non-foil, but not the non-foil rares, you're sitting at $58. Does this include the Fable? Does not include the Fable either. Sorry, that was a confusing little statement. But if you only open up one box, you don't hit the Legendary or the Fable, you're sitting at $25. So box EV is all the cards. This one is with just the Legendary and no rare or Fable. I bet you that says that. Anyway, and this one is without the Legendary or the Fable. So that's it, everyone. Hope you guys let me know what you think in the comment section of Iyslander. We'll see that. What did I miss? I'm sure there's lots of things. Again, the non-ice cards are going to be really good in this deck. I just wanted to look at some of the ice cards we already had to see what would be affected and how that would go. But it is pretty cool. I'm sure there's other cards that are going to affect it. Let me know what you think. Hope you guys have a great day. Remember, be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.